What's going on, everybody? I appreciate y'all for tuning in for this later than usual live stream because I just had stuff to do, and I'm gonna be honest, I just took a nap. I got home, I went to the gym. Your boy was tired. I came home, took a nap. I was like, you know what? We're gonna have to start this a little bit later than before. But now that I took my nap, when you get older, you appreciate a really good nap. It's like my favorite part of the day. Low key, is the best part of the day. But anyway, I'm Marcus. Welcome to the channel where we do attorney reactions to current events. Today, we're going to cover a multitude of topics. Now, I need to let everyone know off break, we got a few stories. We're going to talk about a scam that really isn't a scam. It's kind of somebody being ridiculous. Man, you agree with my assessment? I didn't even jump into it, Norm. I appreciate you, though. But we're going to talk about a scam. We're going to talk about, we got to backtrack. We got to talk about the judge who was suspended by the Wisconsin Supreme Court, who caught federal charges from hiding a migrant. Because some of y'all, not y'all live stream folks, because my family on the live stream, y'all pretty reasonable and rational. But those y'all replay folks, we gotta actually dive deep into that and talk about the legal nuances of an administrative warrant, a judicial warrant, because people in the comments were leaving crazy comments defending this judge. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe y'all just think I'm a pro-Trump guy or something. But it was a lot of people leaving comments defending this judge, and it just made no sense. So we're going to take a look and explain the legal nuances of what went on with that story, the difference between the administrative warrant, the judicial warrant, why her argument is BS. And we're going to take a look at another judge who's a bad actor who, by all accounts, didn't try to hire someone who had an active, outstanding warrant for the commission of a crime, but they committed one on themselves. They committed one. So we're definitely gonna it is just you. Okay, it's just me. It's just me. Now we're gonna explain this because everybody got at me. I was getting emails, like people was coming at me in the comments. I was like, no, we're gonna explain exactly what happened. I even had I had this conversation with a colleague today, and after they were aware of the facts, they was like, I was able to persuade them. Then on the back end, we're gonna talk about this fire Tiffany Henyard's salary, how she is the financial goofy of the year for 2024 because she lost a job that paid her probably like $1.3 million over a 4-year period or 3.5-year period, however long we was in office. We're going to dive in. If you get some value out of this content, I ask you to support the channel, like, share, subscribe, comment, and shout out to all the subscribers, shout out to the viewers, shout out, a big salute to the channel members. I didn't bring my cup, but somebody actually sent me a cup because they said they got tired of me drinking out of red Solo cups. So the next live stream, I'm going to utilize that so I don't look so hood. That was what they told me. All right, let's go ahead, jump into this first story. We're talking about scams that aren't scams. I'm not trying to victim blame, but I don't really know what the scam is. I just think it's people not really paying attention. This story just was published yesterday. Let's dive in. Let's get it.
Broke in minutes. Thieves are using a sneaky $20 trick to swipe your debit card and wipe out your bank account. Fox 11's Gina Silva is live in Van Nuys with the story of one local company that lost nearly $6 grand. Gina.
It is absolutely devastating for this one family. This is a distraction scam that is targeting unsuspecting shoppers. And by the time they realize that something is wrong, their bank accounts have been drained.
Okay, as soon as I heard distraction scam, my DFD scamometer went off, and I knew this isn't no complex shit. This is going to be a very elementary, I don't even know if you would call it a scam. But as soon as I heard that, it gave me cause to pause.
This has to stop. How many other people is this happening to?
Irvin Nelson of Reseda is one of several victims of the $20 distraction scam that continues to play out at grocery stores.
This is your $20. I found it. I'm giving it back to you. She said this should be, good for you. It's good for both of us. I'm giving you back your money.
It turned out to be anything but good. Within minutes of that encounter with two strangers outside this Albertsons in Reseda, thousands of dollars were drained from Irvin and his wife's bank accounts.
Altogether, they got $5,980.
Fox.
Okay. So I'm gonna just be honest. I hardly ever have cash. So if somebody came up to me and was like, "Yo, you drop your $20," like maybe young me when I was really broke, I'd have been like, "Thank you, kind sir," and went about my business. But generally, now like, nah, fam, that's not my $20. You good? Like, I'm not even gonna stop. I'm not even gonna blink. I'm not even gonna hesitate. But $20 that he probably knew he didn't lose turned into him losing over $5,000.
11 News first told you about this $20 scam 2 weeks ago.
My heart sank because my debit card wasn't there.
It was the same scenario. Two strangers, a man and a woman, approached Sarah at a Ralph's grocery store just a few miles from where Irvin was scammed. Here's how the scheme works. While a shopper pays with a debit card, the thieves stand close enough to watch them enter their PIN. Then they follow the victim outside and pull the "you dropped a $20 bill" routine, a distraction that lets them get close enough to steal their ATM card.
Really? Really? Come on now. This is the most unsophisticated. This isn't even a scam. They got pickpocketed. I'm just going to be honest. Please send me a video because I'm telling you right now, like I looked at 3 videos. I looked at the 3 most recent videos. I don't know. I don't know. All of the victims generally look the same. Older, post-middle age, white folks. I need to see like a brother or a Hispanic woman or a younger white person who fell for this. I don't think anybody is fault. This is just, hey, I don't want to victim blame because they are victims. But goddamn, come on now. You drop $20 and then someone pickpockets you. I don't even know. I would love to see video footage as to how it was done. I'm not even going to watch the rest of this video because I think it's so ridiculous that I don't know. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous for us to even dive in. Not a scam, just a simple theft, just a simple pickpocket. If you know you didn't drop $20, leave your damn wallet in your pocket. If you know you don't got $20, leave your wallet in the pocket. Even if you take the $20, I'm still confused. Like, who was the pickpocket? Harry Houdini? How the hell did you take your wallet out to get a 20 and put it in, and they take your debit card from you? I don't know. I'm just confused. If somebody say y'all drop something, just keep going about y'all business. You don't even got to take your wallet out to get the. I don't know. I'm confused. Just be careful out there. I don't want to see nobody get finessed. If this happens to me, I'm telling y'all right now, no one will ever know about it because I'm going to be too ashamed to tell the law enforcement that this happened. I'm going to just suck it up, call my bank, cancel that card, and hopefully I can get refunded the losses. Terrible part on this story is that they were not actually refunded their money. Their financial institution said that it's possible that they could have been a part of this scheme. I don't know the validity of that claim. Could be plausible, but I doubt it if they on TV embarrassing themselves. Maybe, I don't know. But they weren't able to get their money back. So y'all just tread lightly out there. Don't fall for this. And if you fall for it, you probably should just cancel your card and don't go on the news. Report it to the police, but don't go on the news talking about how you fell for this scam because it's kind of wild. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our next story. We're going to watch this story. Then I'm going to talk about everybody in the comments who disagree with me, especially you replay people. But let's go ahead and jump into this next story. If this is going to get interesting.
Between your local and federal government takes a new turn.
All right, now, of course, this is about a week old. And some of you replay people, I make videos talking about a lot of stories. Then I cut those videos out and repurpose them into smaller videos. So if you comment and say this happened 7 days ago, you probably should have looked at the live stream that I did 7 days ago where I first talked about it, not when I just took it out to repurpose it. That's how content creators do. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. You talk about a lot of stuff, repurpose it at a later point. Get it together. All right.
We'll get to the debate over immigration enforcement in Wisconsin in just a moment. But first, let's get you caught up to speed here. The FBI arrested Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan on Friday. As you may recall, she is suspended right now.
100% agree with the charges. If the facts as they're provided are accurate, 150% agree with the suspension. Hey, it is what it is. I agree with both of those things.
Investigators say she helped a Mexican national evade U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents and escape from her courtroom.
Okay. Everybody wanted to know, like, oh, well, what is his a visa, or what is the situation? She wanted to make sure his due process was taken care of. Factually, just so we know, this was an individual who was illegally in the country. He was deported. He came back into the country. That's the background as it relates to this individual. He was in her courtroom as a defendant for domestic violence charges. Now, I'm not going to delve into domestic violence charges, but it wasn't no possession of a less than half an ounce of marijuana or something like that. There was some real ass whooping going on in those allegations. But that's the background. We got to make sure we got everything. And if there's some information that I'm missing, I want you all to enlighten me, because I am open for debate and I can be convinced when I'm wrong, but probably not in this instance. But if you got the facts to support it, maybe.
This has really sparked a massive tug of war over exactly where I should and shouldn't be allowed in the Badger State. Our Jason Kelby is live with new developments on that front tonight. Jason?
Henry, this new battle really is much larger than just your courthouse. This one expands to your DMV, or the department that handles your private tax records. The question is, what should state workers do with ICE? Evers versus Republican lawmakers on ICE. No, definitely not a skating show.
They just want to make a thing where there isn't a thing.
Here's the thing, a document at the center of this very real fight. In it, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers' administration
Okay, let's talk about real quick what was going on. Administrative warrant, judicial warrants. What's the difference? What was going on? So according to reports, and I looked at everything. I don't want y'all to think like this dude just watched Fox News. I looked at Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, blogs. I was trying to figure out what was going on. Essentially, anytime ICE is looking to detain a person who is here illegally and they meet the standards where a warrant can be issued, ICE obtains an administrative warrant. When they get this administrative warrant does authorize them to arrest a person, detain a person. What it doesn't do is authorize them to go into a private residence. So there is some leverage. If ICE is knocking on your door with an administrative warrant, like, hey, we're here to pick you up, you're illegal. I don't know if you all remember, but back when in Chicago early on in the Trump administration, they were having people put flyers on their doors that articulated these rights. But generally, ICE gets an administrative warrant. That administrative warrant, they can arrest, they can detain, but they can't enter into a private premises. Versus a judicial warrant is issued by a judge, a magistrate. It allows for someone to go into a facility to actually get this person, obtain this person. That's the background that we need to know. In this story, ICE is in the building. The judge is questioning the validity of their warrant. The judge was questioning the validity of their warrant because she said this is an administrative warrant, not a judicial warrant. You can't come in here, is what I'm assuming. She directed ICE to go to talk to the chief judge. ICE was like, we don't give a damn about a chief judge. Now, just on those facts, y'all let me know if the facts are different. I went to multiple sources to try to get the facts. I think her logic is flawed because the administrative warrant doesn't allow you to go into a private place. They were in a courthouse. Anyone can go into a courthouse, especially state courts. Most state courts, they allow for the recordation. They record the trials and all of these types of things. So it wasn't a private facility. Yeah, it wasn't a private facility, but it was a state courthouse. But what law enforcement has jurisdiction in a federal courthouse? It's not a. I believe she was in, if I'm not mistaken, as a magistrate judge. I think she was in a state court. And in any event, if they're in a facility that can be accessed by the public. So, okay, let's say hypothetically this same situation applied to, let's say, let's take immigration out of it because everybody getting sensitive and they thinking of donkeys and elephants and red and blue. Let's just say take immigration out of it. Let's say I don't know. I think this is the point. This is the point for me that drives it home. Joe Blow can enter into a federal courthouse after going through security. You don't actually have to have any business there. You can go sit in the courtroom unless it's some very sensitive thing. I think when you're in a courthouse, it's fair game. Like literally, now it'd be one thing if the proceeding, I don't know, maybe the proceeding was going on and they bust in and I don't know, slap the sheriff deputy or something. I don't know. Maybe it got out of hand, but I don't see how could you stop a federal law enforcement officer from going in a courthouse where I could just go into that same courthouse and sit there and wait and say, "Oh, this is our guy right here. Yeah, that's him. Let's wait for him to get done so I can pick him up." I don't know. I mean, I think that's the argument for me. That's the argument for me. Again, I'm not an immigration law expert. I'm just, hey, giving my take on it. And like I said, I'm subject. It's I can be persuaded if the facts are different. Okay, well, okay, to your point. Let's take your point as true. Let's say these federal ICE agents couldn't go into the courthouse to make an arrest. They could go in the courthouse to sit down with the rest of the audience and observe, right? What would stop them from doing that? Even if they're acting in their official capacity, they don't effectuate an arrest. Could they? I've actually seen this done. Could they go into, as a defense attorney, could they go into a courthouse, sit where the audience is, wait for the guy to leave and arrest him in the parking lot? Yeah, they could do that. You know how I've had clients who've been in that situation. I'm like, "Hey, bro, we got your charges dismissed." I'm nice with it. And they go right out the door and get picked up in the parking lot by the feds. Happens all the time. This just happens all the time. But even if they couldn't go inside, let's say they couldn't go in there to make an arrest. I don't care if his warrant was completely 100% wrong. What right does the judge have to try to allow him and his attorney to actually leave the courtroom or leave the courthouse through a way where the public generally doesn't have access? That's crazy. You know how many people probably been before her charged with assaults, charged with drug offenses, who probably had their rights violated or could have had their rights violated, and she didn't go out of her way to take them through the damn secret tunnel to get them out? That I don't know. I think it's just kind of wild for a judge to have that much lack of judgment. Yeah, they're federal magistrates too. Hey, what's going on, Maddie? I appreciate you tuning in. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Well, let's see. Yeah, she was escorted out for arrest because has she literally said her piece? I don't give a damn if the guy's warrant is completely wrong. It could be the wrong person. No judge who's been a lawyer since 1981, like damn near 40 years. It is. I don't give a damn what you say about this is just my personal opinion. There's nothing you can say about administrative judicial warrant. I don't give a flying damn what it was. No judge with any common sense has no authority to try to evade someone. Oh, law enforcement is out there waiting for you. Come on and go through this back way. I'm just not buying it. Their arguments could have been, oh, you know what? We were just waiting for him to leave the courthouse. We were just sitting here as third-party observers, just like everybody else in the courtroom. Just like that guy over there documenting the trial, just like that lady's son who's waiting for her to get done so he can take her back to her appointment. But I don't know. I just don't see. I don't know. I think is like, you know the saying like, yo, I can't. You in the woods is you can't. I can't see the forest. There's too many trees in here. Take the immigration thing out of it. Take the validity of the warrant, I don't care if it was right or if it was wrong. Either way, the judge's conduct was inappropriate of a judge. And what happened to her is what she should have gotten. And I think it was 100% the right decision. That's just me. I mean, like, and she did everything else. Like, really, the best thing that she could have done was made her point. And if you care this much about that guy, okay, follow him down to where they about to detain him, and do what you need to do, Judge. You're gonna lose your license if you go down there arguing on behalf of him. But go there, do what you do, or make a phone call to somebody who does immigration law. The hiding shit is what got you where you are. And she raised hell, challenged the warrant, whether it was administrative or judicial, or whatever it was, she wouldn't be in this situation. But she made the stupidest call that you can make. A judge who exercises that bad of a judgment don't need to be in there. I mean, come on now. I'm sure at some point it was some brother in front of her and his warrant had a defect. I guarantee you she didn't rush his black ass out of court. Nah, like, no. It's like, hey, I don't know if she was doing it for clout. I don't know what her reason was. I don't know if she knew this dude in some other capacity. But there have been plenty of people and their warrants probably weren't up to snuff. And she probably read them and was like, nope, we're going to proceed. Nah, this is just giving goofy. I personally can't see why a person with common sense would do this, but for them trying to get some type of clout. Maybe she want to retire. I don't know. It's just confusing as all hell to me. But I think the validity of the warrant is irrelevant. I just look at the conduct of the judge. If the warrant was legit and it was a judicial warrant, would the conduct of the judge be appropriate? No. If the warrant was invalid, would the conduct of the judge be appropriate? No. That's just how I look at it. I don't know. What's going on? I appreciate everybody for tuning in. But they just sit there. I had so many clients who we had a jury trial, not guilty, and they walk out and get picked up on federal drug charges in the damn parking lot as soon as they leave the courthouse. Literally, I would tell them, be like, yo, I think just FYI, the Fed's here for you. But you thought I was going to be like, hey, the Fed's here for you. Come on, follow me. Hell no. Ain't nothing that, hell no. That's crazy as hell. I don't know. Let's go and finish playing this.
Tells state workers how to handle ICE agents. First, the state workers to ask agents for their names, check badges, and find out why they're there. The state workers then to ask the agent to take a seat in the public waiting area. Then the state workers to call their agency's attorney. If the worker can't reach an attorney, the document says, ask the agent to come back later. The state tells its workers, do not answer agents' questions. Do not give access to files or computers. Do not allow the agent into a non-public area. The document says
I don't disagree with all of that. They aren't obligated to answer questions, all of that. I just don't see anything that says do help people who try to evade authorities.
Agency's lawyer will advise on those possible requests.
The very fact that Tony Evers is instructing his employees to either break federal law or not cooperate with law enforcement is a new low for Tony Evers.
That's baloney. The only thing ICE can do what ICE wants to do. Only thing I want is that if they come to a place of work, that an employee that is being wants to be talked to by ICE and bring their attorney there.
Still, Republicans ask the governor to rip up the guidance, something he's not going to do.
I don't disagree with that. I think generally that's good information. I wouldn't want if ICE come into the clerk's office and just start asking about random people in court. Man, y'all clerks, y'all got work to do. Get the hell over there and finish doing what y'all need to do. Y'all don't have to answer these guys' questions. I don't necessarily disagree.
And another thing he's not going to do, the Wisconsin Assembly passed a bill that would require county sheriffs get anybody that's in the county jail have proof that they're in the country legally. The Senate hasn't yet passed that bill, but the governor's critical of this bill. He called it wrong-headed. We're live in Milwaukee tonight. Jason Calvi.
I don't know. We're gonna see how this plays out. Y'all, hey, I know y'all thinking I'm super Republican over here. Now, again, I'm going off of what was in the actual arrest affidavit. They actually had discussions in there, or they had facts in there that says the judge was overheard saying, "Hey, come on, like come this way," as she was leading him out of the court. If those facts are true, and I actually read in an article. Hold on, let me pull this article up. I actually read a statement that was made, I think, by a statement that was given by the attorney for the judge, which leads me to believe that the evasion part is accurate. Let's see. I agree. That's a great point, Paul. I agree with that shit 100%. Yeah, she said something to the effect of like when she kind of apologized or had some remorse for her actions or something like that. She essentially made a statement through her counsel where if you read that statement, you're like, yeah, she did that shit. like I don't know if she said what was said, but she definitely tried to evade them because you wouldn't feel if she didn't do that, what was there to be? You would have no reason to feel like, oh, I'm sorry about the decision I made. It was something analogous to that, where her statements clearly show that the facts as asserted, at least the general notion that she tried to do some type of helping them evade was probably founded. That's just my thought. Yeah. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but at just where it stands, again, facts change. Some other facts can come out. They could have. I can just go by the facts that we have in the moment. I think you're right, Lady Luck. There's a gazillion questions we could ask, but just going with the facts as we have in this moment, I don't see anything like charges should be appropriate at this juncture. I agree with. Should she been picked up? Yeah, that's the normal process. You should have been picked up. I agree. And I agree 100% you should not be on the bench. Your shit should be suspended until we figure out what's going on. And if all of this is true, I wouldn't actually be opposed to snatching your license personally because it's given kind of ridiculous. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right, let's go. So since we're talking about judges, I was like, you know what? Since everybody like to defend judges no matter what they do, I gave y'all a story about another judge because I know y'all like defending judges. Y'all like to defend judges. So y'all like to defend judges, whether right or wrong, no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter how much dumbassery it may or may not be. So I'm gonna pull up another video for Judge, and let me know if this judge is being railroaded or is the outcome of these actions legit.
Caught on camera, a Tarrant judge who pulled out a gun at a city court building could be facing charges.
Hey, a judge pulled out a gun at a court building. Who cool with that? We all cool with that? We don't know what was going on, but just generally of that, who's cool with that? Gun, court building? I'm just picking with y'all. This is a much, I don't know. I thought the other story was obvious. I was going to say this was a much more obvious story of a judge doing wrong. But I think across the board, we can unilaterally agree that this is kind of goofy. All right, let's go and check it out.
Good evening. I'm Guy Rawlings.
And I'm Sherry Falk. It's another saga in the drama clouding the city. WVTM 13's Aaron Llewellyn talked to investigators about what happened and to residents who say they're tired of city leaders misbehaving.
Sad. It's really sad. That's sad.
More drama from inside Tarrant City Hall.
She went into her purse and pulled a gun.
And it was caught on camera. Tarrant Judge Tanelia Jackson is accused of
She pulled the blick out of her back. Man, what's judges going wild, man? These judges is going crazy out here in these streets. She reached into her purse, clears damn camera. She got to know where all the cameras at. This is crazy. All right. Sorry.
Into her purse and pulled a gun.
And it was caught on camera. Tarrant Judge Tanelia Jackson is accused of pulling a gun on a woman outside these doors on March 28th.
Now, we do got to know. I need to know what the woman did. Just from looking at that video, I'm just telling y'all right now, I ain't gonna do it. They'll demonetize this video. But as a proud Second Amendment concealed carry type of brother, I don't see anything just in this video that will warrant the pulling out of a firearm. Generally, you pull your firearm out. Now, in some states, you can brandish the firearm. We talked about that. If there's a threat, and brandishing the firearm could eliminate that threat or, deter that threat or potential crime from happening. Here, I don't see anybody in proximity. I don't see any immediacy of death or severe body harm. All I see is buffoonery.
Is accused of pulling a gun on a woman outside these doors on March 28th.
Apparently, she was in some type of verbal altercation with a female. It's what we were told.
Police Chief Wendell Major tells me police believe the woman had a traffic court appearance. He says the woman's case was never heard because she got irritated and had an outburst. She was charged with obstructing government operations and was arrested. When she was released from jail, she came back to get her car. That's when you can see Jackson come outside the city building and pull her gun out.
She's not allowed to have weapons inside the building.
This new broadcast. The lady just came. They got into some words in the courthouse. The lady comes back to the parking lot to get her car. The judge sees the lady. The lady, apparently, from all the facts we have, appears to be minding her business, and the judge just losing it. And I can tell you right now, just from looking at this video, she literally has like no training with the firearm whatsoever. Generally, you don't want to have a firearm in your purse because if somebody snatch it, you lose your firearm and your purse. You normally want to have it on your person, preferably on your hip, not in the small of your back, like this is some hood movie. Her posture with the gun is just absolutely terrible. She's just holding that junk with one hand as if it's a cell phone. As a kid in the vicinity, this is just all bad.
Allowed to have weapons inside the building.
And there are signs on these doors letting anyone know who comes through them that guns are not allowed. Now, Jackson is facing being arrested for bringing a gun inside a city building.
That's what's going on now. Too much guns and people not listening and thinking before they act,
Facts.
That's awful. I don't think that was right.
I talked to Jackson on the phone on Wednesday and asked her if she had anything to say about what happened. She told me she wasn't going to comment on something she was a victim of.
I'm not.
That's how stupid is she? You got a gun and you the one calling 911? I wouldn't have called nobody. This is
She told me she wasn't going to comment on
something that she was a victim of. Zero accountability here. So definitely hope the charges come in this one. You brandishing a firearm, or some places call it brandishing. Some call it assault. Some possession of a firearm on government property.
Something she was a victim of.
I'm not aware of anything in the video that I saw that would make me believe that she was a victim.
Residents in the city of Tarrant, like Belinda Lipford, hope city officials can move past the drama and focus on serving the people.
I think that we should, as a community, as a neighborhood, we all should get along, work together with each other and support each other and stop with all the negative things and thoughts.
In Tarrant, Aaron Llewellyn, WVTM 13.
All right. I need to know who y'all got her back. Who rolling with this judge? Everything that lady talked slick to her in the courthouse. Went to go get her car. We weren't having it. She's ready to murk someone. I mean, judges is going crazy out here. I agree with that. Hold on. I saw one of the comments. It said, who's going to jail first? Tisha James or Tiffany Henyard? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think they nowhere close in being finalized with whatever investigation they got on Tiffany Henyard. We're going to dive in there to that. Yeah. There's totally a little kid on the sidewalk. No regard. No regard at all. Let's see. Looking like she's running to the liquor store. Yeah, completely. No discipline. She probably had her hand on the trigger the entire time. But yeah, she deserves exactly what happens to her. Now we're about to go ahead and jump into our thumbnail story. I think she should be charged, and we need to stop calling everything negative or hate. I agree. And I don't know. It's just goofy that people, sometimes things happen and people just get like so emotional that they lose all rational common sense. Like, I don't know. I've actually been like in a restaurant, like I was like picking up like McDonald's or Burger King or something for the kids, and there was a guy who had headphones on, and he was like, the line was here, and there's a person in line, but he was kind of in line, but really far back. It was like so much space. So you know how sometimes you order, then you just step back and wait for them to fix your order. So I thought he was waiting, and I just like kind of went in front of him, and the dude just started spazzing out like, "Yo, you don't see me in line?" Like, I mean, like he really going off, and I just was like, "Come on, bro." I was like, "Oh, my bad." I was like, "My bad. I didn't know you was in line. I thought you was waiting for your stuff. Go ahead." I mean, and this dude just going off, and I was just like, "It ain't that serious." But some people in those situations, somebody bruised their ego and their feelings get hurt, man, they just reach out and pull out their firearm so fast. The number one thing that you need in life, especially if you're carrying a firearm, but just in life in general, is conflict avoidance skills. And you have to be able to do a little bit of verbal judo. You have to be able to have a skill set to resolve a situation without using these or this trigger finger and talk your way through a situation. And this guy was hot. But it ended up with me like, yo, don't even worry about it. My bad, bro. How much was your meal? Here, I go and take care of that, blah, blah, blah. It was a done deal. It was easy, smooth, no issues. It is what it is. All right, let's go ahead, jump into our cover story. Dang, he got his fourth DUI. I don't know, like DUIs are bad. 4 DUIs are really, really bad. I would actually have to look to see the nature of those DUIs. Generally, and I don't know what the rule is in South Carolina. I know in North Carolina, I don't know if this is still the rule. I haven't been in traffic court in decades. But I know generally, if you get 3 DUIs within a 7-year period, you can be charged with a felony. But all DUIs aren't created equal. Some DUIs have so many mitigating factors where it's like slap on the wrist. Some have so many aggravating factors where they're gonna throw you under the jail because it was property damage, a person got injured, maybe a death occurred. So it all depends. Speaking of DUIs, I think we gotta do a story tomorrow talking about John Elway and his golf cart incident. But let's go ahead and dive into this next story. Let's go ahead and get first, before we get to the fire, let's talk about the bag. Let's talk about how much money Tiffany Henyard made, according to records, last year, and how she earns the Financial Goofy of the Year award. Because if you got jobs making this much money, you should just do your job, keep everything above board, not draw attention to yourself, and just keep it moving. You should not do anything to highlight how much you potentially suck at that job. If anything, if you suck at your job but you quiet, people may be like, he a C+, C- type of person. But if you suck at your job and you loud and you causing everybody to look and visibly see how much you suck, now your level of suckiness is exacerbated by like 1,000%. So let's take a look at how much money she made, why she's going to be probably screwed financially. And she made all of this from taxpayer positions, which is crazy work. Let's take a look. Let's get it.
Self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard leaves office in the next few weeks after being badly beaten at the ballot box. Questionable spending, clashes with trustees, and an ongoing FBI investigation led to her undoing.
Investigative reporter Ben Bradley broke many of the stories that exposed the issues, and tonight he returns to the south suburbs for a new accounting of Henyard's reign.
I love y'all, and nothing you can do about it.
The curtain will soon close on the Tiffany Henyard show, but not before one last dance.
Supervisor, come on now. People want to know what's next for you.
Know what's next? Why you out here? Why are you out here?
We were there for Henyard's final food giveaway and a new tally of what she's cost taxpayers. On Easter weekend, cars lined up for blocks, tens of thousands of tax dollars spent for another one of Henyard's famous food giveaways.
Our last run, and I did not vote for that woman, and I never didn't vote for her before, but I'm gonna give me something to eat today.
Hey, shout out to you. I think that's the right move. They're giving away plates. Go get a plate because y'all probably pay like $5,000 per plate with all the funds that appear to have been misappropriated.
I like the giveaways, but I don't like her.
I clearly didn't watch this video, but she's serious. Those two women are serious, but I agree. Hey, go get a plate. You got to take that's the only thing that's probably productive is most of her outings and her community events. So take advantage of it.
She's nasty.
Even that person in the passenger seat is laughing their ass off.
She's giving us back what we already gave, but ain't nobody else doing that either.
Tiffany Henyard does spend a lot of money, some of it on worthwhile programs, but she's also benefited handsomely and questionably. Newly obtained records show last year Henyard was paid more than $347,000 from Dalton and Thornton Township.
$347,000. Hey, I'm just be honest. That's between a couple of jobs. That's hella impressive. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, hey, if you watched the channel early on, y'all kind of knew. I used to do like budget videos, so y'all already knew what it was. I'm gonna make $347,000 a year. Like, hey, but for the members, check out the video I did why I'm going back to school at 40 for some classes because I want to make more than $347,000. But hey, members only video, y'all check that out. But she made $347,000 last year. That's actually insane. The craziest part is these are all from jobs that are funded with taxpayer funds. This isn't out being in the private sector. These are taxpayer funds. That's actually wild. During her, let's say she was in office 4 years, like over $1.3 million. That's actually that's a shitload of money. Crazy amount of money. Let's take a look to see how it was broken down. And I want to pull up something on that number as well. So go ahead, jump in
The two governments she runs. That's more than Chicago's mayor makes. Henyard's comp includes $282,000 from the township, which also gave her a $4,900 per month expense allowance and an $1,100 monthly vehicle allowance. That's despite the fact Dalton taxpayers spent six figures on two SUVs police used to chauffeur Henyard.
Trustee Gray Everett, Supervisor Henyard.
And did we mention Henyard hasn't attended a single meeting since she lost re-election?
Why haven't you been to board meetings since your defeat?
And work my fingers to the bone.
You don't want to answer? You're still getting paid. Why not go to the meetings?
I don't know. I think that was smart of her. I wouldn't have went to any meetings after that defeat. I'm trying to break this down. Now, I know all of this isn't included in just like actual compensation. It's kind of a whole benefits package. They talk about her allowance for vehicles and everything. But if we actually looked at this bi-weekly, if this was her like weekly salary, if we just broke down all these numbers, it's not. But if we broke these numbers down to bi-weekly, what these numbers pan out to is she get a salary every 2 weeks, total of $13,346. $3,487 goes to federal taxes. $661 goes to state taxes. Social Security $351. Medicare, Medicaid $244. Total taxes $4,743. Her net pay after taxes, if this all is broken down in salary form, every 2 weeks, she'll be getting $8,603. Hey, that's an outstanding job. Shout out to her for being able to earn that much income. I mean, you got to give her some credit. That's a lot of fucking money. Your boy's still trying to get there. That's a hell of a lot of money.
It just proves that what she was doing was very selfish. It wasn't about the people.
Stephanie Wiedemann worked for the township for 20 years and blew the whistle on many of Henyard's antics.
If she had just said, "Oh, I made a mistake," everybody would have moved on. We pointed out the mistakes and she put on the show. You know, everybody paid attention because every 2 weeks it was like a sitcom.
Y'all are black, and y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. You the ones that's costing the village money. And y'all don't have that call. All right. Okay.
What was she supposed to do? You wanted her to expound? Don't drag out the meeting. I made a motion.
WGN Investigates has documented first-class trips for Henyard and her entourage that cost taxpayers well over $100,000. There was a stay at a Four Seasons and steak dinners. In late 20...
All right, we know all of this. I want to fast forward real quick let's fast forward to the 407 mark.
Is based upon what you are able to deliver. That's
whether he agreed chip and $400 per day for travel within or every supervisor.
Out-of-state
taxpayers
travel,
are the ones stuck with the bill. The supervisor and
$600 a day. That's crazy. No per diem is that damn high. That's actually crazy as fuck.
and others get unusual perks, including $600 a day for every day they travel out of state for the
$400 a day for travel within. That's actually insane. That's crazy as hell.
township, and $400 per day for travel within Illinois, plus the cost of their travel expenses. We asked Henyard's successor whether he agrees with the supersized paydays.
What you make is based upon what you are able to deliver. That's more so saying, like, you know, people believe that professional athletes shouldn't get paid millions of dollars, that doctors should be, or teachers for that matter. So I'm not going to get here and go into a debate about what should be getting or what should be this salary or this.
All right, I want y'all to really pay close attention to what he said. Let's rewind it back real quick. And remember, he's a former NFL football player, so he definitely has an NFL bag. But what he's saying for a reason. I don't know if you all remember, but this is just me. Illinois is unlike any state that I've seen before. Normally, in most states that I've lived in or have done my due diligence research in, normally you can't hold two positions of government trust simultaneously. It's an inherent conflict. In Illinois, that shit fair game. You could be school board president, trustee, the liquor license dude. You can have like 55 titles, make $500,000, all based on the government salary, and don't do shit in any job. Now, a lot of politicians cannot do anything in jobs, so not necessarily taking a shot at them for that. But I've never seen, this is a very unique where you can hold so many positions of public trust simultaneously without there just being an inherent conflict. In most places that I've lived, worked in, it's a no-go. Once you maintain one position of trust, it's actually written into your employment agreement that you can't hold another government position because it is an inherent conflict. But again, former NFL player, he says this for a reason. We got into a debate over how good of a job that he was going to do. I said that the bar is set really low, so I think that he can do a good job. All he has to do is not steal as much and give a little bit of a damn and don't be loud about and boisterous about some of the things that he may or may not be doing. If he can do those three things, he's going to look amazing. But a lot of people in the chat said, like he would do it for free because he's from Dalton and the township, and he loves the community, and the salary is going back to this. I call bullshit on all that. Pardon my language. I don't like to drop that harsh of a curse word. I call BS on all that. I think that, hey, I don't care what the salary was, what they statutorily moved it to. I think that one of the reasons he wanted to help, I do agree with that, and he saw the chaos that she was causing, but a big reason was a $250,000 bag that he could get on top of his salary that he has from any other position with the government. I'm not saying he's not going to do a better job, but don't get it fooled if you don't think the salary that could come along with the township supervisor position isn't in the back of his mind. I think that's just being a little disingenuous person.
Within
and his response was indicative of someone, in my opinion, who actually gives a damn about the $250,000 salary as he should, because I would.
Illinois, plus the cost of their travel expenses. We asked Henyard's successor whether he agrees with the supersized paydays.
What you make is based upon what you are able to deliver. That's more so saying like,
what that means in layman's terms is what you make is based on what you deliver. Long story short, I'm going to deliver a lot more than she delivered, so I should be making the same or more. That's what I heard. I don't know. That's all I heard when he said that. Y'all let me know. Am I wrong on that?
you know, people believe that professional athletes shouldn't get paid millions of dollars, that doctors should be, or teachers.
He went straight to professional athletes. People believe professional athletes shouldn't get paid millions of dollars. He was a professional athlete who got paid millions of dollars. Then the analogy was kind of wild. He said people believe that professional athletes shouldn't make millions of dollars, or doctors or teachers. That was like one of those things don't belong. Like normally teachers historically aren't paid what they should be paid, their worth and value to society, in my personal opinion. But hey, I can't control that. But all of his statements to me are indicative of someone who's very cognizant of the fact that this job has a high ass salary and believes that your compensation should be based on your output. And he is going to have a much better output, no matter how low Henyard may have set the bar, than what Tiffany Henyard had.
Teachers, for that matter. So I'm not going to get here and go into a debate about what should be getting or what should be this salary of this.
With what we've been through and how easily we saw it is to abuse the system, I think it's important.
Y'all think it'll stay at that? I remember they lowered it for the next person would get 20. Now it's 50. Y'all think it's gonna stay at that? I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if it stayed at $50,000. I would be absolute if it stays at $50,000. And okay, I think Napoleon Harris is gonna do a light years better job than Tiffany Henyard. I think everybody would generally agree with that. Hopefully, knock on wood. Because I haven't heard anything really about his policy except for that he's not her. But that's neither here nor there. If it stays at the $50,000 and it stays there and it goes up, 5% a year or something like that, I would be shocked. I'm gonna just be honest. I think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before, in some form or fashion, that salary is bumped back up around to where it has been during Henyard's reign. I just can't see. Hey, he might be the greatest member of Thornton Township, and he wants to do the right thing. I agree with that. If he does it and doesn't try to increase the salary, I would be shocked. I think most people would try to. I would probably try to increase the salary. I would be like, yo, y'all pay her all this money and she didn't do shit but steal from y'all. I'm doing a far better job. I'm actually out here working hard, busting my ass. I need to make more than $50,000. I would be shocked if it stays at that salary. That's crazy. Yeah, I know that's actually crazy. But let's see. Yeah, I agree. Can't hold two positions. Yeah. He doesn't strike me as particularly bright, and I caught that part about the salary. The inference, in my opinion, is that he expects to earn a substantial income at some point. Thank you. I know it wasn't just me. Shout out to you, Turn. Hey, yo, I appreciate you for having that ear. Don't let me influence y'all. Like I said, I know I talk a lot. So, hey, I try to get through the comments, but I just don't see him doing it for, if you're a max player and you actually performing, why the hell you going to perform for the league minimum? Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm going to perform for the league minimum because I want to win a championship in Thornton Township by balancing the budget. Hell no. I don't know. I just can't see that. I don't know. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And I don't know what he makes as a senator, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, he gonna have a bad. I don't think it's gonna stay at that though. I can't believe that for sure. As a first-time elected supervisor, his salary would be about $55 for the first year. Okay, is before he get out of there, he gonna be hitting some astronomical numbers though. There's just no way he gonna do that for $55 and 5% every year for every year that he's a supervisor for a cost of living increase, I would be shocked. Let's see. Nah, it was a whole weird thing where like it was high because the predecessor had a high salary. Then at some point they had a law pass something where if she's not elected, the new person would get 20 or 25,000. Whatever it is currently, it's substantially lower than the 200, 250, whatever the hell it was during her term and during the gentleman who passed away previous to her term. But I don't know. I just don't think, I don't know. If I were doing it, like, how pissed off would you be if you like, yo, I really want to help my town and you take the job. You get $55,000 a year where Henyard didn't do shit and made $250,000, and you busting your ass every day eating ramens and shit, and you actually need a food box from the food pantry now because you're making $55,000 a year. Man, you're not gonna go for that shit. And I think the other thing too is a salary like that. I don't know. It depends. If is it really a full-time position? If it's really a full-time position, you actually want to have a high salary because you want to be able to entice people who are actually competent and give them some incentive to do the job. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Yeah, demand that he take the $50K. Well, the salary will drop with the next administration, but the residents better demand that he takes the $50K. Yeah. I think that lower amount is in the resolution, but y'all correct me if I'm wrong. That's fair. Shout out to you. Good comment. I appreciate that. Thank you. But it gotta be some provision that allows them to update the salary during the course of their tenure. So maybe they locked in for year one, but that can't be indefinite, can it? I don't know. Interesting point though. Good question. The question is it going to stay at 50? 600 per day. That shit is crazy as hell. Yeah, if he tries to increase the salary, he would need an ordinance or a resolution of some sort, I hope. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that Napoleon Harris is politically stupid at all. I'm gonna just be honest. I have reservations about if the trustees can maintain a position if Napoleon Harris is doing a good job, doing a better job than Tiffany Henyard. I'm just be honest. I don't think that. I mean, looking at some of those trustee board meetings, and I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think Napoleon Harris is stupid politically, and I think he has a lot of political gamesmanship. I'd be shocked if he's doing a good job. The trustees will stand on that hill and stand on this square like, nah, we're not leaving. We're going to stay on this salary. I think he would be able to convince them, and I think he would be able to convince them easily. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. So the salary was always set to be reset. That shit going. When it's reset, and how high can it increase, in what period of time is going to be the big question. I agree with that 100%, Deli. 100% to that comment. I agree they should, but I don't know if they're going to stand on business on that. 100% agree with that. That's the only reason politicians, I mean, that mostly is about power. It's some money into it with finessing deals and contract work, but yeah, it is about power mostly. All she had to do was the bare minimum. I think she had a low bar to set. I think when she got that position, I think everyone wanted her to win. I think everybody wanted her to succeed. I think if she would have been a C- mayor, a C- supervisor, she probably actually would have won re-election. That's my personal thought. All right, let's get out of this story. Let's get on to the main story. Now we got to take a look at a previous story before we get into this main story. So let's go ahead, take a look at this story. Then we're going to turn to the arson. We're going to talk about, is she a person of interest? If so, why? What they'll need to prove. I've represented someone on the arson case before that we won. Hey, shout out to fires. Shout out to setting your boyfriend's clothes on a fire in the tub not charring easily, being able to get it not guilty. Hey, so let's go ahead and check out this video. Then we're going to talk about it. We need the context. So, when we talk about admitting evidence, we got to lay the foundation for what we're about to talk about. So let's take a look at this foundation work right here.
Fox 32 has information that indicates the FBI has launched an investigation into controversial Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard.
Dane Placco has been following allegations of her misspending and joins us now with an update.
Okay, update to the misspending. Let's pay attention to what this gentleman has to say about what was done to his business and how Tiffany Henyard tried to stonewall his business.
We've been reporting for nearly 2 years on allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard in her capacity as Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor. And now we've learned from multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges. Did the FBI agents you talked to seem serious about?
Yes, very serious.
Concerns?
Very, very serious. Very.
Lawrence Gardner.
All right, Mr. Gardner, place of business, went up in smoke, but this is where we first seen Mr. Gardner at, talking about what was going on with his business and his interaction with Tiffany Henyard and how he went to the feds. He stood on business, got on the news, said, yeah, I talked to the feds.
Yes, very.
Lawrence Gardner owns a U-Haul rental and trucking business in South Suburban Dalton and says he went to the FBI several months ago, frustrated that the village of Dalton would not renew his business license. Gardner says he's been harassed and his business raided and shut down by Dalton police. He believes because he refused to make a donation to a civic event sponsored by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
And I talked to a couple of agents and I explained them what was going on. I gave them all my paperwork to show them what was happening in court and what was happening in Dalton. And they told me they was investigating and they would be in touch with me.
Gardner is one of 6 people who confirmed to Fox 32 that they've been interviewed by the FBI, ranging from Dalton business owners to a former village employee and at least one public official. And we've learned the FBI has been using electronic surveillance as part of its investigation.
All right, we don't even need to dive super deep, but just so we know what was going on, Mr. Gardner has a business in Dalton, and essentially he got a little bit of a mafia style, according to him, shakedown. Like, yo, we're not gonna give you your business license to operate because you need to give up some money to our coffers. Like, I don't care. Tiffany Henyard cares, election fund, you need to do something, right? So that's where we first seen this individual at. Now let's fast forward to what's going on now. What happened to his shop? And then we're going to talk a little bit about arson investigations. Interesting.
New questions today after a South Suburban building caught fire. You may have seen this frightening video of flames shooting.
Okay, one, that's a crazy ass fucking fire. Like, I've seen buildings go up in flames, like literally probably too fucking close. Not that I'm an arsonist, I'm just saying, you see them, you're like, oh, it's a fire. Somebody called, like, but this fire is a little bit ridiculous. Okay, I've seen buildings go up in flames before. This is crazy right here. The amount of flames for this building is actually insane. I'm no firefighter, I'm no fire examination expert, but these flames are giving some backdraft action.
shooting out of the windows of a Dalton business yesterday. We've learned this isn't the first time a fire has happened there.
That's right. Our Sade Gray has been investigating all day, spoke with the owner of that business. Sade.
Well, Chris and Erica, this is the second time the building caught on fire in 1 week.
Your building on fire 2 times in 1 week. Okay. 2 times in 1 week is giving sketchiness. Okay. I'm not saying that it was any perpetrator. I'm not saying that, and by no means am I saying that Tiffany Henyard is a suspect. We're going to talk about why she could be and is likely a person of interest. But just off these facts right here, related to this fire, nothing about Henyard at this point, that's giving sketch. 2 fires in 1 week. Somebody probably doing something shady. That's actually crazy to happen twice in a week. Definitely not up to a mere coincidence or luck of the draw, in my opinion.
While it remains under investigation how the fire started for both fires, we spoke with the owner and he believes both are suspicious. Unbelievable video out of Dalton. A devastating inferno tears through this business yesterday. Flames shoot out the window and take down the roof.
That's crazy.
A view from CBS Skywatch shows a pile of burned debris sits near 142nd Street and Dalton Avenue. This morning, Dalton firefighters returned to the scene after the fire reignited. The building stood tall for decades, but was destroyed within hours.
Mutual aid fire, 1330 East 142nd Street.
Now, new questions about what caused the fire. We spoke to the owner of the building, Larry Gardner. He wouldn't speak on camera, but he believes his business was intentionally set on fire.
All right. Now, Larry Gardner is aforementioned Lawrence Gardner, who says that Tiffany Henyard tried to give him the shakedown on his business. Now, Mr. Gardner, Lawrence, a.k.a. Larry, is saying that, hey, this was done intentionally. Now, we're going to talk about this from all aspects because there's some things here that are giving shady from his side as well.
It's called Yvette Trucking and Warehouse, a business offering moving services like U-Haul trucks, trailers, and towing equipment. Dalton fire officials say this same building caught on fire Friday. Gardner says he believes that fire is a case of arson too. We've also learned the same building was raided last December. The state's auto theft task force recovered 10 stolen vehicles from Chicago. We asked Gardner about the raid, and he is blaming one of his tenants and says he had no idea there were stolen cars there. He has since voided their lease.
You know who might be a person of interest? Him. I'm just saying. Hey, I don't know. Your place been on fire twice in 1 week. The first time it didn't go up. The second time it goes up in an absolute fucking inferno. And now we find out that previously law enforcement raided your place in relation to stolen cars. One thing that fires are good for are getting rid of evidence and collecting insurance policies. So again, I'm not saying that is the case, but typically when you're looking at arson, a purported arson, potential arson during the examination, the very first thing they're going to do is look at people who have motive. Who has a motive to do this? Now, one story that I've seen out there, and hold on, I want to make sure I give this channel a shout out because somebody sent me his link and I don't want to. Okay, remember it. Shout out to Soldier of Finance. That's the link to the video. So y'all go over check out Soldier of Finance. He actually not too far from here. Good finance channel. He did this story. Someone sent it to me, so I want to give him a shout out. But generally, when there's any investigation, but in particular arson investigation, they're going to look at who has the motive. So right now, off the cuff, we know that there are 2 people who could have a motive. It depends on who motive is stronger. Do y'all really think, okay, let's see. This gentleman had an issue with Tiffany Henyard not being able to run his business because she wouldn't approve his license because he alleges that she wanted some type of donation to a charity or campaign or something to that effect. He says he believes it's on purpose I see some videos trying to piece these things together. Will Tiffany Henyard be a person of interest? Yes, is 100%, well, not 100%, but it's very, very likely that she's going to be a person of interest because they're just going to create a list of people who had the motive to actually do this. What would potentially be her motive? Well, they're going to look and say, well, she has a motive if this guy is potentially providing information to the FBI, if this guy is, going to be a witness in any capacity against me. So chances are she is going to be a person of interest. I'm just going to be honest, absent any hard evidence that points directly in her direction, I think that would be just off of that previous encounter that these two had where this man says she wanted to pay off. I don't think that would be enough because just as I look at it is, okay, Tiffany Henyard, what is her motive? Well, her motive is this guy that came on camera, said he's talking to the feds, so he may be talking to the feds. That video where he started talking to the feds was over a year ago. Whatever the hell he told the feds already have. That's point number one. Point number two, I don't see the benefit of blowing up his place and him not being in it. Yeah. All right, what benefit would that be? He's still in a position to testify, first and foremost. So I don't think, I don't think that is a point that gives any weight to like, this is a very strong motive here. He's already made whatever testimony he was going to make to the feds, so they already got it. Two, just the mere burning down of the place wouldn't stop any future testimony if this gentleman is still here. Three, if it was going to be used as an intimidation tactics generally are done before the event that the person does not want you to participate in. So it normally, like, if you aren't trying to delete a person who could potentially be a witness, let's just use a little common sense here. You want to do the intimidation event prior to the person going to actually testify, as to incentivize them not to testify. So it just wouldn't make sense here, in my opinion. Would likely be a person of interest because, again, there is some motive there, but the pieces doesn't seem to fit. Now, the other person who we just can tell from looking at these facts who's going to be a person of interest is Larry. That gentleman is probably going to be at the top of the list. Why would he be at the top of the list? Because it's his place. They're going to look at his insurance policy. How much did he stand to gain from this place burning down? Were there any increases in this insurance policy over the last 180 days at a minimum that I would probably go back and look? Maximum, maybe a year or so, but at a minimum, 180 days. Point number three, law enforcement was previously at your location for stolen vehicles. He asserted that it was a tenant and he terminated that tenant's lease. But let's just say hypothetically, it could be plausible that he was aware of what was going on. It could be plausible that he could potentially have some exposure and stolen vehicle activity on his site. What would be one of the best ways to get rid of evidence is setting the place on fire. So I don't know. I don't think, even as a person of interest, it just wouldn't make sense for Tiffany Henyard to do something like this because it wouldn't even prevent the testimony. So what would be the point of it, as besides potentially eating another charge? Two, I'm gonna just be honest. Do y'all think, y'all let me know, y'all more in tune than I am. Do y'all think that one, her goon squad, because I seriously would doubt if this were factual, I seriously would doubt that she would be out there doing it. That would be crazy work. Do y'all think that her goon squad is actually capable of something like this? Is point number one. Point number two is, do you think they would be capable of doing something like this and doing it clean as to not leave any evidence that will point back to them. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me go through some of these comments real quick. But I don't know. I just don't think that she will be a person of interest because she does have a motive, but her motive doesn't make sense. If something like this occurred prior to him actually going to testify or going to give do a deposition or something to that effect, but if he already talked to the feds, it's already out there. If something happened to this guy tomorrow, what difference do it make? Why am I going to threaten you after you already did what I don't want you to do? That it's just not making sense. Not saying that, again, not saying that it's out of the realm of plausibility, but I'm just trying to look at it with a little bit of logic here. Let me see. That's I agree. That's like some extreme accelerant type of fire. Let's see. There's no gas on after the first explosion. Wow, to get that, if there's no gas at that facility, I mean, there could be some other flammable materials there, considering it's a storage place. You never know. But the way those fires was looking, that was like that it took me back to like some Iraq oil field fires. So like that was a crazy fire right there. Let's see. If it quacks like that, it's a duck. That's fair. Nah, he wasn't the one who took her down. He's small potatoes. To Tiffany, Jason, and Napoleon. Better sleep with two eyes open. I know. I did see it was. Remember that one lady said that she believed that her house got fired up, and that lady stood on business. She got on TV and was like, "I think the mayor did it." I was like, "Damn." So I mean, it's not unfair to say that there is not. It's fair to say that there have been persons who have believed that violence had occurred and targeted them because of Tiffany Henyard. I just don't think with this arson one, I just don't see the motive. Now, again, some people do stuff all the time with a dumbass motive or no motive at all. But again, I agree with that point. I think this dude's information to the feds is very small. It's nominal, minuscule at best. He already said what he needed to say. Burning down his place doesn't do anything. I think a more likely scenario, I would actually target my resources more at looking at him. Me personally. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I can see that. It's kind of like insurance policy have slayer statutes where like if I get an insurance policy on you and you had an insurance policy for 5 years, then I push you down a flight of steps and you die, I can't collect the insurance proceeds even if I'm the beneficiary because the policy has a built-in slayer statute. If I slay you, I'm assed out. So I could see insurance policy having those. I don't know, but I could definitely see insurance policy having those types of provisions. Yep, I agree 100% with that. Lady Luck, you be doing the deep dives too. I be checking out your channel and you be going through them complaints and stuff. I see you over there. You be doing a good job. Y'all make sure y'all go check out Lady Luck Club LLC. She makes very good content and actually very hilarious too, might I add. Let's see. Bitter woman, broke man. Let's see. Someone saw something with a file like that. It took some time to pull off. Yeah, I agree. And a lot of times, I don't know why this is the case. Well, I guess I do know why. But a lot of arsonists like statistically like to stick around and look at their work and admire it. Those firebugs are weird like that. But I want the preliminary investigative report. I'm not blaming him, just saying they will automatically ask him questions. Yeah. That's like if your spouse died, the first person they're going to look at is you. They're going to be like, they're going to automatically give you a side eye. Arsons are insurance scam. Facts. Businesses, people do it if they got a house that's dilapidated and they can't get it fixed and they want to get their house fixed. It happens all the time, unfortunately. Whoever started that fire had a whole lot of time to pour that accelerant inside of that building. Now, who had time to do that? The owner. I agree. That's what I'm not gonna say I agree, but I would his motive makes more sense than Tiffany Henyard's. I've seen videos trying to piece up Tiffany Henyard with this, but I would just keep it a buck. His motive is a little bit more his motive is making way more sense than anything Tiffany had. She is vindictive. She's vindictive, but after he already told what he know, I don't know. I don't see it. It like now, if this was like an arson at St. Elmo's restaurant, I might be like, this is interesting. But here, I don't know. I think she's gonna get a pass on this one unless there's like video footage of like Kamal and her buying oil cans or fuel cans from Lowe's or something like that. But outside of this one, her motive just wouldn't be strong enough. She was taking down too many people and embezzling money. They're going to have plenty on that woman when it comes down to it. And I have no doubt her little goon squad will flip on her. Everybody, not everybody, but most people will flip. I agree with that. Who is the tenant? I'm not sure. That's actually a good question. We know that he kicked out that. Hey, good point. Good point. It could potentially a motive would be, hey man, I had my whole illegal car operation going on over here, and you terminated my lease and ruined everything, so I'm coming to jack you up. Or it could be, hypothetically, not saying this is the case, it could be that Lawrence is still doing some shady stuff and he had some bad business with somebody and somebody else was salty. There's a lot of avenues. I think most of the fingers would point at the owner as the focal point of any investigative efforts, though. What is the significance of lapse of insurance? If his insurance lapsed at the time this fire occurred, he's gonna be screwed because he won't get anything. Now, that's assuming that there isn't a provision that bars recovery if there's an arson or questionable fire. Most policies I saw, they just protect across the board for things. And again, I do agree with the comment earlier. A lot of arsons are finessing and are scams. But if his insurance lapsed, the burning down the place would be completely pointless because it would be a loss completely to him, whether he owned the building outright or if he still owned the mortgage on it. But if he doesn't have the ability to recoup, because the insurance is going to pay him for the value of the land that the property sit on and the value of the real property attached to the land, the actual structure itself, which could be substantial in these economic times. Most times, the insurance payout is generally more than what the property was actually last appraised at. That's normally how it works. Nah, they focus on getting Jedediah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, everybody who could have told had probably already told, outside of people who are in her inner circle. But anybody who knew what was going on, they probably already told whatever they already know. I agree. Nothing to gain regarding this fire. I agree with you, Paul. Thus, it would be uncharacteristic for her to be involved. She is all about the benefits. Good point. Let's see. Someone perfected what they messed up the first time. Tiff entered his building and videoed the building while he was not there. I got to see the report on that. This whole Dalton situation is nonsensical. I agree. Her motive would be spite and vindication as a start. Who knows why she does the dumb things she does. The tenants are worth a look at as well. I agree. That was a good point. Damn good point. Let's see. That was fair. That's a fair point as well. Prima donna. Let's see. Most people won't go back to the same building and light it twice in 1 week. Nah, I seen people do that shit before. Trust me. I represent DUI, armed robbery, arson. I represented people who done it all. I represented people who was like, oh, that was a really big structure. I knew they had a lot of flammables, and I just wanted to see what it looked like. Some people, if you do a job, don't do it half-ass. Some people do go back to get the shit done right. I don't think it occurs that often. The same week is wild, but isn't that outside of the realm of possibility? The railroad investigation into the missing electronics is still going on. They have spoken with some residents. Let's see. St. Elmo's, St. Patrick's. Either way, St. Elmo's is a restaurant in. Is it one in Indianapolis? It's close to Illinois. St. Patrick's. I said St. Elmo. I went to St. Elmo's. They had some spicy ass shrimp. Burned my damn nostrils. Larry actually set it off. Exposed Tiff Shakedown. Yeah, he set off. Was he the first person? He might have been. Now that I think about it, that's actually a good point. He has to have insurance or at least a bond for that type of business. I agree completely. But I don't know. I don't think Henyard has anything. I don't think she has any motive that would warrant a deep dive look into her for something like this. I think the meat and potatoes would be with the owner of the facility. So this one she might get a pass on. Now, I'm going to be back doing the live stream if this video pop up of Home Depot of people buying a bunch of accelerants and fuel cans. But unless we see some type of a smoking gun like that, I think this one is clear. I know y'all don't like to see me say anything positive about her, but I just can't see anything. I can't see any connection. I can't see how the motive would make sense. These people fight at municipal meetings and fight televisions. I agree, Debt-Free is with your analysis as to motives that make sense. Man. But again, sometimes everything don't have to make sense. Sometimes that's my problem. I need everything to make sense. And when it don't make sense, I just get so confused trying to find a way to rationalize and the logic. Sometimes people just do shit that don't make sense. So that's actually a fair point. Yo, I appreciate everybody for tuning into this. I appreciate y'all feedback. Hopefully I convinced y'all on the judge. I'll probably piece these videos up and put them out in smaller portions for the folks on the replay side of the game. Tomorrow, it's so many things that's going on. Okay, the Tyree Nichols trial is going on, and I want to talk about that, but that's going to be a whole show in and of itself. Diddy's trial is starting on Monday, so I think I want to dive into that. And I don't know if you all seen what went on with John Elway at a golf course. John Elway may be under a preliminary investigation. He was operating the golf course, had an accident. His good friend of the family agent fell off, split his head on the ground. Now he's in like ICU, and doctor said it's not looking good. That's actually a crazy story. I want to get a little bit more facts before I dive into that one. But yo, those are going to be the upcoming topics. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna look at Shamela Williams. I'm gonna take a look at that, see what's going on with it, and if it's ridiculous, we'll talk about it. I appreciate the topic idea. Hey, again, thank you all for tuning in. I'm appreciative. Make sure y'all hit the like button, share, subscribe, comment. It's free to do. And to the members, a round of applause, a big gratitude to you. If there's anything that any of y'all want me to talk about, email me at officialdebtfreedad@gmail.com. If it's interesting, if we can fit it on the show, we will. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Have a good night. Peace.